We are live for SciCap June 2.0. It's the first time we've done a SciCap 2 months in a row, 2 years in a row. Richard, welcome.
Big day today. Happy birthday, Patrick and Microdose. You're a year old.
A whole year. Well, we got a couple different birthdays. It's debatable.
Yeah, I mean, we have lots of birthdays. I mean, we have birthday of the birth of Microdose, the birthday of Psychedelic Capital, and today is 1 year on. Psychedelic Capital is back, and it's our biggest sign up so far. So thank you very much for everybody who's joining us today. If it's your first Psychedelic Capital, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're going to tell you a little bit about what's going to be happening at the event before we welcome some of our wonderful visitors and delegates and guests. But before we dive into all of that, you're not just going to get 3 hours of fascinating information this evening. We've also got a bit of a special giveaway for you as well from our friends at Gwella. And Patrick's going to tell you a little bit about what you've got to do and where you've got to be if you would like to get some goodies from Gwella.
Well, so the good news is you're already here. Free legal microdoses with no psilocybin for everyone. So Gwella will be presenting this afternoon. They're going to share a link. I believe the link has already been shared in an email newsletter. And so if you just sign up during the presentation when that link comes up, you can get some free Gwella delivered to you. I think it's a couple packages, and it'll be delivered by mail. So pretty quick and easy sign up process for that.
Yeah, and there are a couple of sort of asterisks next to that. You've got to be signed up by the end of the event. So unfortunately, if you're watching this on replay, that will teach you. You should have been here for the live event. And if you're watching this live, then don't delay. The other asterisk is, unfortunately, it is the United States only. So if you are one of our visitors from all around the world, if you are Dave who's watching in Antarctica, and I'm very sorry, Dave, we won't be sending you, or Gwella won't be able to send you any if they're wonderful legal microdosing products, and they're going to be presenting their company a little bit later on. They're actually a Conscious Fund portfolio company as well, so wonderful to have them here at Microdose. It has certainly been a very busy month in June. I was drawing a little list up of things which have happened in June, and it became quite a long list. So I've just shortened it down. Of course, the moment in time that everybody was waiting for happened, which of course was the Atai IPO. I think it's performed pretty well since it listed on the Nasdaq. So congratulations to all of the Atai team. And of course, Atai were very special friends of Microdoses. I remember the very first event that we did, and the Atai team really rolled their sleeves up and became almost our sort of press office as we scaled the very first Microdose, what would have been 15 months ago. So yes, big love to everybody at Atai, and congratulations on your monumental moment of taking the company public. We also saw all-time highs for Cybin. Lots of great announcements coming out of the Cybin camp. Of course, they have also shown themselves at a Psychedelic Capital. And my view, not investment advice, is absolutely more to come from Cybin. It's a company which I think the industry watches very, very closely.
They've got a number of positive ratings from analysts recently, so seeing some great progress.
And then a company I think you're going to hear more and more about, and they're from Ireland, which most people I'm sure will have heard of, but it's kind of next to the United Kingdom. And that is a company called GH Research, a bit of a silent stalking horse. They've announced recently that they will be going public on the Nasdaq, They've never been particularly visible inside the sort of psychedelic business community, but they've made a lot of progress from a science research perspective. So one to keep your eye out for. I'm not too sure when they're going to go public, but due to happen pretty soon, I think, given this stages of announcements, and that's GH Research. We're going to be showing off another of our conscious fund portfolio companies today, which is Return Health, backed by us and a number of other really great investors in the space. Jim, who many of you will know through the psychedelic medicine community, was the CEO of Trip Therapeutics, took that company successfully into its Go Public event. And Jim will be talking a little bit later on here at Psychedelic Capital about what Return Health are doing. Big focus on dementia and Alzheimer's from the team at Return Health. Last month, we teased out that we were bringing the microdose format into the real world. We told you that it will be in Miami. We've also let slip the dates. The dates are confirmed unless something absolutely terrible happens in the world, which we've got zero control over, but it will be the 7th to the 9th of November. It's all taking place in Miami. The 7th is going to be a bit of a kind of casual get to know. It's for speakers and senior folks from the industry. That's a Sunday evening, sort of networking and drinks. And then we have 2 days of fantastic programming on the 8th and the 9th. We'll be doing the Microdose Awards on Monday the 8th, which will be an evening event, which you're all invited to, and that will be included in your ticket price. And on the 9th, we're going to wrap it up with a fantastic rap party. It's WRAP, and that will bring to the end of Microdose's Wonderland. We are in the very final stages of negotiating some pieces with the venue, and they've asked us not to announce the name of the venue until we conclude those negotiations. But the venue is locked down, the dates are confirmed. So if you want to start looking for flights and accommodation, you now know the dates and you now know the location. And we're aiming to actually announce the venue, and it is a fantastic venue. It really, really is. It's truly breathtaking. Ginormous stage. Lots of great speakers going to be there. So yes, we'll be doing that on the 14th of July. That's when we're aiming to get that announcement out. But do start making your bookings towards coming and joining us in Miami. Couple of sort of house rules, house suggestions, I guess, as we dive into the programming. We have a Q&A feature on the platform. If you want to pose a question to any of our panelists or speakers, it's better that you use the Q&A rather than the actual chat, because the questions may get lost in the chat. So use the Q&A. And if you want to take the conversation onto Twitter, then you can find us obviously at Microdose HQ, and the hashtag for the event is PsyCap, PSYCAP. PsyCap is the hashtag for the event. So Patrick, who do we have speaking, and what are they speaking about this evening?
Yes, so first up, this afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time zone we are in, we are here. We've got Najev Capital coming on first. They're going to be doing a sort of portfolio company roundtable discussion. After that, we're going to have the Giving Back discussion featuring a number of speakers from nonprofits, public benefit corps, all doing great things for the psychedelic ecosystem. After that, we've got Return Health. As you mentioned, James Quill will be speaking on that panel. Beyond that, technology at 3:30. We're going to be talking all things tech. That'll be
great moderator for that panel, I have to say. Patrick is a very good moderator for that one.
A man beyond words and modest and all the good stuff.
Absolutely, can't wait to meet him.
And then another portfolio company, Guella, will be on after that at 4:05. So we've got a pretty stacked schedule, a lot of speakers for this lineup today, and really excited to hear from everybody.
So what have been your sort of highlights in June, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, watching the Atai IPO unfold and kind of the reaction to that was satisfying after anticipating it for so long. I thought it was kind of interesting that it didn't move the markets as much, if at all. You know, it wasn't too range bound one direction or another. Other stocks didn't respond as much or as aggressively as I thought they did. I think, or as I thought they would. So I think a lot of that news was kind of baked in and anticipated by a lot of the retail and institutional investor audience. So I think it's kind of a game now of, okay, what's the next catalyst? Is it a phase 3? Is it a big surprise announcement? Is it another major player going public, or is it just continued momentum and we're in a bit of a sort of churn through the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of expectation that Atai's list would all of us sort of magically push up everybody else's sort of stock prices. But, you know, my view was it's going to be very, very good for, you know, showing the solidness of the space. But I didn't see a sort of a correlation between them having a successful, you know, IPO, which I think we all expected was going to be the case. The amount of interest for it had been off the charts, but I didn't sort of necessarily see it that it was going to have a correlation with other people's stocks.
Yeah, I thought it was also interesting that you know, J.R. Ron stepped down as the MindMed CEO, right? You know, right in that area of time. So it's kind of like a changing of the guard almost at this point. We're looking for, you know, what's the next catalyst or big news out of the space, big face to enter the space, perhaps.
Yeah, have you got any feelings for what that's likely to be? Are you sort of putting your conviction anywhere?
Not entirely, not just yet. I think the next like big news that people are going to want to hear is more information on a phase 3 clinical trial.
Yeah, I think that's going to. My view is that's what's going to move the market.
Yeah.
And that will move the market for a lot of people when that information comes out. And that could well be someone like a MAPS. Doesn't necessarily have to be a commercial, you know, commercial group. So yeah, it's going to be. I think those are going to be sort of seismic moments in the sort of the psychedelic diary.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's you know, in an emerging market like this, and we saw it in cannabis, news drives you know, the business cycle sometimes. They can play cat and mouse with each other. So whatever it is a good reason for, you know, a news cycle to get ignited again. I think that'll bring a lot more attention to the sector. But in the meantime, watching a bunch of private financings, you know, continue to go off in recent months, you know, without a hitch. So I think there's still a lot of private interest.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of new money coming into the space. There's a lot of people who've you know, actually followed the space for quite some time before they've started to commit capital. They're not just jumping in on a whim. They've been sort of silently waiting. So yeah, that's definitely something I think we're going to see. And any sort of other key microdose news you want to share? Is we're keeping it all under wraps?
Well, there is news I want to share, but it's not.
It's not today. It's not today.
Not today. It would have been a good one, but timing. But that'll come soon. And you know, speaking of silently waiting, we've got Najev Capital coming on for their panel discussion. So if there's anything else you wanted to mention, we could bring that up now. Otherwise, we can get into
just to recap, Miami Wonderland, 7th to the 9th of November. It's all happening. Beautiful venue. We're going to announce the venue around the 14th of July. That is the plan. But the dates are confirmed. The 7th will be more of an intimate, invite-only Sunday evening get-together, and then we have 2 days of amazing programming on the Monday and the Tuesday in Miami.
Beautiful. And we're hoping that anyone hearing this can join us. With that, we'll move on to the next panel presentation. Welcome again to SciCap.